How's it going, folks, and welcome back. It's episode number 43 of Park to Primera today, the start of season number 6. Yesterday was a transfer special, of course. If you didn't see it, go check that one out before we get into today's. And, last episode, of course, we made a pretty big transfer in Zivkovic from Red Star Belgrade. But what if I was to tell you he wasn't the only player who we signed from Red Star Belgrade since you were last here? Because I signed someone because they were there. Now, I don't know if that's the most viable of transfer strategies, but in the end, Liridin Ramadani is a very, very good goalkeeper. He plays for the Montenegro national team. He's 19 years old, 16 caps already. Barcelona made a bid, and then I looked at him and thought, well, I can afford him. He's an upgrade on Machedo. Why not? And I signed him. Now, yeah, I didn't really intend on replacing Machedo, truth be told, but I think when you compare the two of them, it's safe to say that he's quite a significant upgrade in a lot of areas. Signed for only 9.75 million, and, I feel a little bit bad for Machedo, but on the other hand, it's just a massive upgrade to our defence for not a lot of money. I feel like I had to do it, so sorry, Machedo fan club. In terms of any other possible transfer dealings, well, on the out, we didn't sell anyone else, but I did get a move for Corridor, and that move is to Real Madrid. Yeah, where to begin with this one? Obviously, we needed to loan him out because of our EU player limit that we were coming up to the kind of threshold of. In the end, we've loaned him as a squad player to Real Madrid. I would almost be surprised if they register him, but I feel like playing for Real Madrid for 6 months is probably going to help him develop a fair bit. Hopefully, it's not going to impact his model citizen personality. And yeah, of all these Spanish teams I could have loaned him to, it's not the one who I necessarily would have predicted he would go to, but it's certainly one that I'm not going to complain about getting an offer from. Yeah, and obviously he's not a player who's going to strengthen Real Madrid massively, and it solves the headache that we had, which of course does mean that going into today's game, registration stuff isn't as bad, or so I thought. So just as a recap, here's the deal. In our league, you're allowed 3 non-EU players in your squad. South American players pick up nationality in Spain after 2 years. It's great news because, well, players like Avramides, they've been at the club 2 years. It's not such good news because I'm waiting on paperwork. As a result, I can't register everyone at the moment. So at the moment, Renato is the man who's not registered. I have to hope that the Avramides nationality paperwork happens. Otherwise, we're in trouble because the transfer window closes in 2 weeks. The registration window closes then. And I might just have a spare player still until Avramides gets Spanish nationality. So over at the embassy, please hurry up. Of course, in the last couple of episodes, we've talked about the tactical changes, but here it is once again. And going into today's game, this is our team. A few new faces. Ramadani is going to start in goal. A big moment for him. At left back, we're going to have Zivkovic coming in. The new man in the team, really, who I'm hoping is going to be a bit of a game changer for us. Of course, Galareta, also known as Jelly, because the word for jelly in Polish is Galareta. He's in the team as well. At 20 years old, I'm very, very excited about him and his tash. He's going to start alongside Velez. Of course, last episode, we sold Onana. In his absence, I feel like we've replaced and strengthened and we've reinvested that money well. I kind of look at our team going into the season and I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I'm kind of cautiously optimistic. And while today's opposition for the first game of the season is going to be Granada, a team who, if we just look here, you can see were promoted last year from La Liga 2. They won the league fairly convincingly, and they're not a bad little team. Their key player, by the way, Oriol Busquets. You remember him? The guy who wouldn't sign for me. He ended up going to Granada. I mean, hopefully he's not going to show us what we're missing out on today. Not a whole lot happening since you were last here in the transfer market besides the Ramadani signing. Let's hope he can show us what he's made of today. I'm excited about his potential. The rest of the team looks fairly standard. We've talked about the defence, but of course Mark is back in on loan this year from Manchester United. Bizarrely at this point, at 21 years old, he is the oldest of our defenders. Our defence is very, very young. I'm hoping that's not going to come back to haunt us, but we have got other players like Basia on the bench. You have a tad more experience, players like Jose Marsa as well. Players who were in the squad last year. They've not vanished, with the exception of Onana. We've not sold any other parts of our defence. So all in all, the overall strength and depth is just better in that area. In midfield for today's game, we're going to go with Owusu at ball-winning midfielder, alongside Blanco and Pablo Torre. Capanu will get game time over the year, but I want to see what Owusu can do in the ball-winning midfielder role. Whilst he doesn't have the same level of kind of bravery and aggression as Capanu, one thing he does have is really good passing, kind of vision, and just overall ability on the ball, which is something that Capanu doesn't quite have to the same degree. I think within our system that could work really nicely. Of course, out on the right-hand side, we're sticking with Martinez, and up top, it's going to be Avramides and Mojica. It's fairly standard in terms of the personnel, but of course, the shape of it is a little bit different this year. Mojica is still going to spearhead to the attack, but to his left, not an inside forward, but a complete forward in Avramides, sitting on the shoulder of his partner in crime up top, dropping in deep. I hope that those two, as a pairing, are going to provide a little bit of a revolution up front, and we're going to really see the best of both of them come out. I feel a bit weird about the Ramadani signing. On the one hand, normally, I feel like I'm a little more sentimental with my players. On the other hand, I don't want to say I feel bad for Machado, but like he's been on an adventure, a journey with us, and it feels kind of bad to cast him to the side. I'm sure he will play from time to time. But yeah, Ramadani, he's just a massive upgrade in goal. Barcelona wanted him. We've stolen him away from a rival, potentially, because they triggered his release clause as well. You may have caught he is one of the biggest earners at the club. I do think like he's a really good quality goalkeeper. Of course, this year in Football Manager, I've got a bit of a mixed reputation with goalkeepers. Look, we spent over 100 million on a goalkeeper in Park to Prem. It didn't really work out. Ramadani, slightly less of an investment. At the same time, from personal experience, throwing a load of money at a player doesn't necessarily make them good. Now, I was already concerned that today's episode was going to be a shorter one. We've not had a highlight in that half. I mean, there's hope for something better in the second half. Oh, this could be a world record for short episodes. We're not even 9 minutes in. Oh, bother. I've turned into Winnie the Pooh. Oh, bother. Maybe, you know what? Editing Jack, we're doing this entirety of the second half live. No cuts. Just keep waffling away, Jack. I mean, looking at their team, they're not doing anything. They've not had a shot on goal. They've got 40% of the ball. I think for us, maybe it's a case of just going a tad more attacking in this second half, trying to carry the ball forward with a little more intent. I mean, we're 20 minutes into the second half, still nothing's happened. Mojica's not having the best of games, neither is Martinez. Let's bring on Hardy for Martinez out wide. In the midfield, Owusu's had a good game. Torre and Blanco, by comparison, have been a tad disappointing. I'm going to make a controversial change. I'm going to bring in Atakovic to play as an advanced playmaker at centre mid over Pablo Torre. I don't think is that controversial? I don't know if it is. It's the change I'm going with. I want to see a goal. I want to see a highlight. There's 15 minutes left. Please show me something. Imagine if we actually don't have a highlight in a game. I don't want to imagine it. It's happening. It's real. There's a chance. Blanco, 89th minute, whip back post. Vélez is there. And in fact, it's Mojica who gets his head on it. I thought Vélez had scored it. I don't know why. Mojica's not a man you assume is going to win headers like that. One absolutely awful game of football. And if it's going to be decided by that, I mean, on the one hand, it's a win. It's 3 points. On the other, I mean, it's just mad. Oh, we've done it again. We've done it again. It's Galarreta on his debut. Wibble wobble, jelly, dished up on a plate by Blanco, and he gets his first goal for the club. That might be the worst bit of commentary I've ever done. I mean, look at it. Into the top corner it goes. And 2-0. This was never in doubt. We're bloody brilliant. I was going to say that Ramadani's kept a clean sheet on his debut. Did he actually have a save to make? No. And yet they've given him a 7.2. I really don't know how to feel about that. I mean, it's a bizarre game because on the whole, we've dominated the match. We've not had, as creative a spree as I would like. I've accidentally hit play here. Don't go to the match, Football Manager. I want to leave. Let me get, like, we're not watching the game back in full. So just looking at the finances, there is a little bit of money in transfer budget and wage budget to reinvest. I asked the board for more money and they told me to just do one. So that's not really an option. I'm hoping that because we've now got the stadium all paid for, that was a big expense, of course, on the horizon, that we're going to get given some of this money at some point to reinvest. Of course, financially, we've been stable for a really long time. The squad has scaled up a little bit in terms of size and cost this year. But if we do just look at the team detailed stats real quick and salary, we are still way down here. I mean, our salary per year is £24 million. I think we make close to that just from TV money from the Champions League. And then you consider the TV money from La Liga, the prize money for going far in Europe, which of course is going to be an aim again this year. We are going to be entering the Champions League group stages, of course. And we are in the Supercopa España as well, which of course we had an adventure in last year where we went to, I think it was Saudi Arabia. It's not the biggest competition. I was still, gutted when we didn't win it, and the board don't see it as important, but it's a shot at silverware. We'll give it a go. You can just see here, before we go, let's have a look at this season and what to expect. So first and foremost, expectations and stuff this year. Be competitive in the Champions League. Qualify for the Europa League through the league. So the board are expecting a top 6 finish. You can see here the youth facilities are going to be improved. The long-term vision is all about just consistently now getting European football. My personal ambition is to try and get top 4 this year. Of course, last year we finished second, but Atleti and Barcelona and various other teams who just have way bigger spend than us and way bigger scope, I suppose, to upgrade their squads. They were disappointing. I expect them to come back a lot stronger this year. You can see here the board are not happy with the finances to sell Ferry or loan out Corridor, but they're happy that we're on course to qualify for the Europa League much earlier than expected. I mean, how can you judge that after one game? I'm really confused. Just looking at the squad general screen, you can see the media prediction for this year is 5th. And if we look at the season preview for the season, we're down in 7th. So ultimately, we've definitely gone up in the estimation of the media and the press and everyone else this year, and even our own board to an extent. I feel like the upgrades we've made are fairly significant. I talked about how young the defence is. You can see here, Mark is the oldest player in our defence, aged 21. And whilst the midfield is a teeny tiny bit more experienced, really puts into perspective how young this squad is. Loads and loads of young players with lots and lots of potential. I think we're now in a situation where it's all about trying to nurture and develop these talents. And, in the case of Avramides, get him citizenship so that Renato can actually be registered for us. Because otherwise, I'm going to have to try and smooth over some issues with players who are registered, who expected to be registered this year. But anyway, guys, I think we'll leave things there for today. A bit disappointing we couldn't have a more exciting game against Granada, but it gave us an opportunity to look at some of the other stuff going on off the pitch. In terms of when we're going to be back next time, I think we'll play it by ear. We'll wait and see. Much like last year, I think there'll be a little bit of a focus on our European campaign, particularly the Champions League group stages. Of course, it's not quite as exciting this year because of the success last year, but nevertheless, it's certainly something in the forefront of my mind. I really, really want to try and reach the knockout stages yet again this year. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the support as always. We will be back again tomorrow with more. And well, until then, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.